Good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get started today. Thank you all for coming and thank you for joining us online. This is our third session in preserving your family treasures, and we're going to talk about textiles today. But before we get started, I do want to remind you to turn off your cell phones or silence them. And if you are online and you have a question, you can email Lifelong Learning. I think it's up there. You can email for questions. Those of you who are here in person, I know going to the microphone isn't always fun, but if you would do that so we could hear your question, or say it loud and proud so that I can repeat it for our online students. And also, we are not monitoring the live chat that's going on. So if you're asking questions in the live chat, nobody's going to see those except maybe for the other people that are watching. So be sure that you do email your questions in. Per university guidelines, instructors presenting on stage do not need to wear a mask or face covering. Students and visitors must wear face coverings over their mouths and noses while on all Wichita State University campuses, in all hallways, public spaces, classrooms, and other common areas of the campus building. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. One thing, this is my email that comes directly to me if you want to email. So next week, we're going to be talking about oral histories. We'll be talking about how kind of those got started and maybe how to do your own and how to write your own story. We're also going to be talking about conservation and restoration and what those terms mean. And I'm going to give you some resources. I've had several people ask me about, where do I take a painting to be clean? Or I had somebody ask me about rebinding a family Bible, things like that. So next week, I'm going to give you some resources to help you know maybe who to call if you need a conservator, or do you need someone just that can restore your objects. So we'll talk about that, and I will put some resources up. And I know you get the slides. Those of you here get those slides printed, so you will have that information, but I will also have those so that you can write those down. We're going to have some extra time probably next week. So if you have questions about, if there's something that I have not talked about that you would like for me to, then email me and let me know. If there's something you want to discuss, you want me to bring up. Also, we will still be doing our heirloom show and tell. So if you haven't brought anything, or those of you online, feel free to send me things. I had about 3 people do that this week. That's great. Send me a photo with some information about it. Those of you in person, bring your items so that you can show. I think everyone enjoys seeing your things, or even if you've brought something every time, it's fine. You will have time that you can do that again if you have something you want to bring and talk about. So feel free to do that, and feel free to email me. You can still email Lifelong Learning. That's fine. They'll relay the message to me, and you can email me directly as well. All right, so let's talk a little bit about textiles today. Most people have some kind of antique textile, whether it's something that's been passed down to you from a family member, or maybe it's just something that you bought at an antique store, but you want to be able to preserve it. Those can be anything from quilts to vintage dresses, christening gowns, wedding dresses, military uniforms. All of these things fall in that category. And it's not just fabric. So, most of those will have metal enclosures, zippers, buttons, and sometimes things are made from more than one fabric. So, all kinds of things to consider when dealing with textiles. Textiles are also very sensitive. We've talked a lot about our light and keeping our temperature and humidity steady, and textiles tend to be very sensitive to these things. They're also sensitive to insect damage. and they can attract insects. And so those are some things we want to keep in mind when you're thinking about your storage areas and in your conditions. So you don't want to keep, it's just like with the things that we've been talking about, attics and basements are not the best storage for these things. Light acts cumulatively. So, just like we've talked about how light affects our skin in the sun, and it can affect our skin pretty quickly. You can get a sunburn in not very long of time, but over time, it can also cause, damage to your skin permanently. It can cause us to age quicker. It can cause cancer, things like that. We talked about that last week. But with textiles, it doesn't happen quickly necessarily. So we're not talking about maybe a couple weeks in natural light. It happens over time and it happens before you even realize it's happening. And next thing you know, your textile is faded, just like this flag and this other piece. I think it's a table runner. So that's why most museums that display textiles of some kind, the lighting is very specific. It's usually very dim and UV protectant lighting. So that's really important when we're talking about textiles. It is with anything, but textiles especially are prone to fading. Okay, so UV protectant window film. This is an option for your home. So my husband suggested that we do this on some of our windows. We have an area that's like a kitchen and dining area, and then there's these big sliding glass doors and then windows on either side. And it's a west-facing room, and it gets a lot of afternoon sun. And he suggested installing this window tinting. And the only thing I could think of is like cars that have window tinting. They're really dark, and I didn't want to feel like I was in a cave. But he said, "Oh no, you won't even be able to tell that it's on there." And so we had it done. Sure enough, I can't even tell it's there. It's very subtle, but it's blocking 90, 98, 99 in some cases percent of those UV rays that are coming in. This is a great option for if you have display areas that you want to display your textiles, because we have our family heirlooms for a reason, and we want to enjoy those and we want to have them out, and we should be able to, as long as we're displaying them carefully. So this is a way that you can just add another level of protectant. Also, it's supposed to help. It's supposed to be cost effective as well with your heating and air bill. Now, we just have it on those few windows, so I don't know that I can tell a difference. Like if you had it on all your windows in your house, maybe you might be able to tell a difference. But it costs approximately $3 to $11 per square foot. And so just to kind of give you an idea, and I've listed some resources at the bottom, the North Star Comfort Surfaces are who we used for our house. We also used this window tinting in the Pizza Hut Museum, because if you've been there or you've driven by it, it's got windows all the way around it. And that was a concern to me because I was responsible for the artifacts going in the museum. And so that was one thing that we talked about. Well, how are we going to protect these items? Because there's so much natural light coming in. And so we went with this option. All the windows have UV protective film, and you can't even tell. It's very, very subtle, and it looks very natural. It's not like car window tinting that's dark. In the Pizza Hut Museum, we also went back and forth on whether we're going to display original documents or we're going to display copies. And we ultimately decided to go ahead and make the copies. Our exhibit designer did an excellent job reproducing those. And so then we have the originals and special collections in Obla Library. But we have plenty of other artifacts in there. Plastic fades too. We have other paper items. We have all kinds of different materials in there, but everything's been, okay so far. So far, so good. And so I know that window tinting is working. So that's just an option that you might want to consider for your homes. Let's talk a little bit about tissue paper because we're going to be talking about it quite a bit today. And it can be a little confusing. So, of course, it's not enough for just tissue paper to be acid free, which that's going to be your primary, the primary thing you're going to be looking for is acid free tissue paper, but it comes in a couple of different ways: buffered or unbuffered. So, buffered means that it contains an alkaline substance, which sometimes is added to acid free things. And this is why it's called a buffer, but it's usually calcium carbonate added as an alkaline reserve to counteract acids that may form in the material. So materials like cotton fabric, synthetics, paper, photograph, things like that work well with buffered tissue paper. And then unbuffered is pH neutral and preferred when storing materials that by nature have a more acidic composition. These materials are predominantly animal derived, like wool, silk, feathers, even fur, leather, that kind of thing. Now, if you are not sure, or if you have something that has lots of different materials and you're not sure which to get, I would probably go with the unbuffered just to be on the safe side. And this is not going to be the tissue paper that you get in the wrapping paper section at Walmart. That's not acid free. So make sure that you are getting, you can get, I don't know, I think they do have those at Hobby Lobby and Michael's. I think they have them in smaller sheets. We have these big rolls of it that we have ordered, but I think you can order, you can get smaller sheets of tissue paper, and you can also order from those archival supply places that I mentioned last time, and probably from Amazon. You can order acid free tissue paper to kind of go with whatever it is that you are preserving. So again, if you're not sure, then go with the unbuffered. If you only can find buffered, like if you're at the store and that's all it's okay because it's acid free. So I don't think it's going to harm your objects, but I think if it's not acid free, it will, because it's acidic and it's just like, storing something in cardboard, it's acidic and it's going to have a chemical reaction with the other acidic objects. So just like our other items, which are humidity and temperature affect everything. So textiles that are kept at a high temperature causes the fibers to become very brittle. And then if they're in a place where the temperature is fluctuating a lot, like, if let's say you have a storage shed behind your house, and so there's going to be extreme highs and extreme lows. So those fibers are going to constrict and they're going to enlarge. And it's after they're doing that over time, then it's just going to break down those fibers. Humidity promotes the growth of mildew. So sometimes these stains that you have on your textiles from mold or mildew, sometimes if those have gotten deep enough into the fibers, they can be permanent. They can cause permanent damage. So you want to be sure, and you're checking your textiles, that if it starts happening, you can stop it before it gets too far. You may be able to go to a restorer or a conservator and have that cleaned, but sometimes they can't get it completely out. They might be able to get some of it out, but there'll probably be some staining on your object. And it kind of depends on what it is. Synthetic fabrics like polyester or nylon don't absorb moisture as much as like wool or cotton. Also, be careful with the air vents, and don't let the air vents blow directly over your textiles. This can also cause damage. I'm going to show you something in just a little bit that I think a textile that I have. Well, actually, it was at my mother's house, but I think that maybe the heating vent may have caused an issue. We're not sure, but we'll talk about that. But it can also cause dust, which accumulating can cause problems with your fabrics and kind of speed up that degradation process. The same like when we talked about books last week, same kind of thing. So let's say you just noticing that a garment or an object, one of your textiles is starting to get some mold. What should you do? Well, remove it where it is, from wherever it is. Remove it so that it's not going to spread to other things. Spread it out on a table, like if you could use a card table or just something that's nice and clean, and allow it to dry. You can even take a towel and kind of help absorb some of the moisture, set up some fans, maybe not blowing directly on the object, but maybe kind of around it, or even a ceiling fan or something. If it's a small area, you could use a blow dryer, maybe on a low setting to kind of help speed that up. And then once it's dried, you can carefully vacuum away the residue of that mildew, and it should be fine. Now, you can freeze these items too. You can put them in a polyethylene bag and you can freeze maybe for like an hour. And that will also help kind of dry it up quickly so that you can remove it. You can do a soft brush, even like a soft paintbrush or something. Especially if it's just a small area, I would probably do a brush first and then maybe take a vacuum with your brush attachment and kind of go over it carefully. And if it's something that is really deep set in, it's probably best to call somebody that specializes in removing mold and mildew, because you could do more damage by trying to remove it yourself. So, housekeeping. So, keeping your house clean and free from dust is going to help prevent the presence of airborne dust and insects in your house. Um, Moths, carpet beetles, all kinds of things. They can really wreak havoc to your collection. So this is something you want to check your storage areas. If you see insect remnants or rodent remnants, then it's best to check your boxes or whatever you have your things stored in to make sure that they're not being damaged. Textiles, most textiles can be vacuumed. I kind of mentioned that before. If you use the soft brush attachment on your vacuum and kind of just do a little bit at a time, or you can, if you want to just use the hose of your vacuum and maybe put something, a filter over it, like so let's say some cheesecloth or something, and then just secure it onto your hose with a rubber band. That way it's not sucking in the fibers, especially if you have some loose fibers, like a rug or something, you don't want to suck those into your vacuum. Maybe putting a filter on is a good idea. Now there's things, if your textile is just falling apart or something, obviously don't vacuum that because it's just going to cause more damage. But like most things like rugs and quilts and things like that, or a military uniform or something like that, you can vacuum, and you could do that on a regular basis, especially if you have quilts that are on display. So vacuuming those periodically is a good idea, just to remove any dust and kind of keep insects from coming and harming those. So, how to handle textiles? We're going to talk a little bit more in detail, but make sure that your hands are clean. Now, in the museum, when we handle textiles, we use gloves. We use white cotton gloves. You can order those from archival supply places. You can even, if you guys are in a bell choir at your church and you wear those white gloves, same thing. You know, they're just white cotton gloves to protect your hand, or you can even use latex gloves or nitrile gloves, and you can get those at the store. But that just protects the object from any oils in your hand, but just make sure they're clean. Make sure your workspace is clean. Make sure you have plenty of room. Don't lay it out on your kitchen table if you've got a cup of coffee sitting there. Make sure things are clear and free from any food or drink. Take off your rings, your watches, your bracelets, anything that's going to, I always have those things on. So take off those things that might snag your objects. Handle with both hands, especially quilts. They're heavy, they're bulky, and you don't want to put added strain on those, or a wedding dress or something, or the maternity dress, things like that. You want to make sure that you have using two hands. You might even want to use a pillow for support or putting those on a table if you're checking those. And don't wash an item unless you know you won't damage the material. So if you know it's something that is okay to wash, that maybe you've washed it before, but I would be really careful with washing. Maybe try to do some spot cleaning. If something's gotten dirty or if the vacuuming doesn't get rid of it, you could try some spot cleaning, but be really careful. I tried to clean one time an antique sampler that had needlepoint, and it had been damaged already. It had been in fluctuating temperatures. It had gotten moisture on it. It was why it needed to be cleaned. So I tried just testing a little piece of it, and the what the needlepoint had been stitched onto just sort of started to disintegrate because it was so brittle. Those fibers were so brittle from all of the temperature fluctuation. So I had to just leave it alone because I think the whole thing would have just fallen apart. So be really careful about cleaning. And if don't take it to a dry cleaner either, because those chemicals can be harmful to your objects. So it needs to be somebody that is somebody that handles textiles and can clean them safely. And it could be that it's just not safe to clean at all. So just be sure that if you're not sure, I would just leave it alone. So storing things in a dry, cool location with a constant safe temperature. If you can store them flat, that's the best thing with acid-free tissue. In an archival, an acid-free box, which we've talked about. If hanging, you'd padded hangers and acid-free plastic garment bags. Now, you don't have to use garment bags at all because textiles do like to breathe, but you can find archival safe plastic and just leave it open. Some of them are really long and you could cut it to where it fits your garment a little bit better, but don't tie it at the end and knot it because textiles kind of need to breathe. They need that air so it doesn't create that moisture. You can also yes. That's what I was just getting ready to say. She asked me if you could make your own. Yes, you can. I was just getting ready to say you can absolutely make your own covering with 100% cotton muslin. We use muslin a lot. Just make sure you wash it first and make sure that it's white or cream color. Make sure it's not bright red. You could even use an old white sheet, to make a cover. That's absolutely fine. What about well, I'm going to get to that in a minute. She asked me, what about a cedar chest? And I'm going to get to that in just a minute too. We're going to talk about cedar chests. So I'm going to all of these things, we're going to go into depth just a little bit more. Okay, so I did want to throw in shoes and hats because a lot of times these go with our textiles. You might have shoes and hats that match. You might have military hats or boots or things like that. So I kind of wanted to throw this in there too. These are shoes, and this slide and the next slide are things from our collection in our museum. And we use acid-free tissue paper just to stuff in those shoes and hats just to help keep their shape. So this is a way that you can do this at home. Purses, you can do the same thing with your purses or like little beaded bags. You can also put some tissue paper in those. And you can also store them on head mounts like this, which we use in our museum storage a lot. We also use these for exhibit. You can order these from Amazon. You can order these from places that sell supplies for retail stores. There's a place called KC Store Fixtures, and it's out of Kansas City. And they have a lot of things like this for very reasonable. You can also make your own. You can get a styrofoam ball and you can cover it with some tissue paper or maybe some cotton. This hat is from Tibet, by the way, and it has some tissue paper stuck up in there too. But you can cover your styrofoam ball. You can stick maybe a dowel rod in it and then make a base, like a little wooden base with a hole in it, and you could glue it in there. And you could just make your own mounts for your hats. Baskets, same thing. Now, if they're just like a regular round basket, you might not need to do that because it's going to keep its shape naturally. This basket is from the Philippines. A lot of baskets from Southeast Asia and Africa are kind of those long and narrow. And so they don't always hold their shape the best. They have a tendency to kind of flatten down. So if you put some tissue paper, then they'll hold their shape better. So storing small handiwork. So a lot of times we have these needle points or lace or things like that that are small pieces. It's great if you can frame these, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute about framing and displaying them. But if you can store them in an acid-free box on those archival supply, I don't know if you've been on to look, but there's boxes in all shapes and sizes. There's deep boxes and shallow boxes and all kinds of things. So you can find something to fit your piece. Put a piece of acid-free tissue paper in first, lay your object down, and then put some more tissue paper on the top. If you could store these on a shelf in a closet in the main part of your house, that would be great. You can even take some, if the box is too big, you can even take some wadded tissue paper and kind of put around it just to act as a barrier so it won't be moving around. If it's something that's really falling apart, you could even get some archival acrylic, which is just kind of a clear acrylic plastic, but it would be archival safe, which I have a resource for that here in just a minute too. And you could even lay that on top of it before you put the tissue paper or after you put the tissue paper, just to kind of help sort of sandwich it in and keep it in place a little better. So things that are really fragile, like this dress, some wedding dresses too, christening gowns, things like this, should be stored flat in a box. Gravity, just if you hang it, that gravity just pulls on those shoulders and it can cause it to stretch and damage over time. Even knit, I mean, you know what it does to your sweaters when you hang them in the closet, you know, but over time, especially if you have something that is vintage, something that's been passed down, but that's more knit type, it's better if you can to store it flat because then it'll keep its shape better. All right, so this is me. And at my senior prom with my date, who I've been married to now for 26 years, my mother made my dress. It's royal blue. Not quite sure of the material. It might be acetate, something like that. The top part has sequins. And my daughter graduated from high school this past May. So before COVID canceled everything, before prom was canceled, before graduation was canceled and all those things, we were talking about prom dresses and going to prom. And she and I are about the same size. And so I thought we were at my parents' house for dinner. And I thought it would be fun for her to try on my prom dress. And so this dress has been hanging in an upstairs closet for about 29 years. Do the math. And not in a garment bag, but it was in a guest bedroom that nobody went into very often. Nobody went into this closet. It was kind of just used for storage. So I went to go get the dress. And I have it here. I brought it. Somebody told me I should have worn it today, but no. Not sure it would still fit me anyway. And for those of you online, I did take a picture so you can see what happened to it. It turned purple. Any ideas what happened? The first thing I thought of was water damage. Oh, well, it looks like it's gotten wet, right? Well, there wasn't anything else wet in the closet. So that wasn't it. So then it was like, well, I'm not sure what else would have happened to it. And we tried. So I consulted with a colleague that she's the director of the Historic Costume and Textile Museum at K State, which, if you've never been there, it's worth a trip to Manhattan to go to that museum. So I asked her, I said, what happened to my dress? And she said, well, it could be a variety of things. It could be oxygen damaging it. It could be, it's an upstairs bedroom, a guest bedroom that's shut all the time. So it does get hot in the summer and cold in the winters. So even though the temperature fluctuation wasn't extreme, like if it was in an attic or an outbuilding, there was still some temperature fluctuation that happened. And she also said that this shade of royal blue is very prone to fading anyway. So if we had stored it in an acid-free box with acid-free tissue paper, it might not have done this. I don't know. It's still it was kind of a mystery to her too. She's like, well, and if it had a vent blowing on it, that can cause it to fade, which it was in a closet. So there's no vent in the closet, I don't think. So I don't know. It's kind of a mystery, but sometimes when you think you're doing the right things with your objects, sometimes things just happen. And obviously this is irreversible. So, to salvage this dress, I think you'd have to, the top part was okay. It was just the bottom, the skirt. So not sure. And nothing else seemed to be affected. I don't think there was anything else affected. It was just this dress, which makes me think it was the synthetic material that it was made from and the dye, the color. I think that was the main thing. This isn't a textile, but my grandmother had one of those phones. I think it was from the 50s, 60s that was turquoise, the turquoise telephones. And my mom has that phone now, and it's been kept out in where the temperature is not controlled. It's green now. So I think sometimes certain dyes just are prone to fading. So sometimes it's going to happen regardless. Yes. Yeah. She said that it looks like tie-dye. Somebody said it looks like kind of the ombre where it has the different shades. So yeah, I mean, you could be fine. Yeah. It's supposed to be that way. Yeah. Another 20 years, it might be all purple. Yeah, maybe we just need to leave it out in the sun for a while and see what happens. That might be an interesting little experiment. All right, so let's move on and talk about quilts a little bit. So let's talk about what you shouldn't do with quilts first. Don't store them in a plastic bag. Why? Because it can cause moisture to accumulate. And a lot of times, if you're storing them in plastic, it's all sealed up, right? So that moisture can promote mold and mildew growth. It's going to cause those fibers to break down. It's going to cause discoloration and staining. It also attracts insects when it gets wet or moist. Mothballs. Mothballs leave this smell, right, on textiles in particular that you cannot remove. It just seems to hang on. And there's talk with textiles that there might be a chemical in the mothball that breaks down those fibers that can be damaging over time. Don't store in direct sun. Oh, yes. A substitute for mothballs? I don't know of a substitute for mothballs except just monitoring your environment and keeping keeping them as closed as possible as far as in a box or something if you think that that's a problem. Now, if you have mothballs nearby, let's say you have mothballs in your closet, but they're not coming directly into contact with your quilt, then it's probably okay. As long as it's just not stored right next to your quilt. So if you have them in a closet or something, as long as it's not touching the fabric, you're probably fine with your mothballs. If that's the way you choose to store them, that's probably fine. Do not store in direct sunlight. Obvious reasons, we've talked about that. Here we go. Here's your cedar chest and hope chest. Do not store in a cedar chest or hope chest because that raw wood produces an acid that's bad for your textiles or anything else for that matter. Now, if you have textiles that are in an acid-free box in your cedar chest, you're probably going to be fine. You just shouldn't store them directly, like folding up your quilts and just putting them in there, which seems like a great place to store them, but it's acidic and it's going to break down those fibers. Just make sure that if that's your storage preference, that they're encased in something acid-free. Your small handiwork, same thing. It could be in a small acid-free box with tissue paper. I don't know. You could use archival plastic as well. I just like the idea of it being a little bit more, the box seems to be a little bit more of a barrier between the object and the wood than plastic. So I think a box would be the best alternative. Do not store in basements or attic, which we talked about that and why you shouldn't because of the temperature fluctuations and moisture. Don't store too many quilts on top of each other. It can cause creases that are really hard to get out. So just be careful of that. And it can cause also moisture can build up in there too if you've got too many stacked on top of each other. Now, if you have them in, a hope chest and they're in boxes, that of course, obviously they're not going to be touching each other because the boxes would be stacked. Or if you have tissue paper in between, like if it's a small, let's say you have a wall hanging, maybe you have a couple wall hangings, you can put tissue paper in between in the same box and those are fine. Don't keep quilts hanging for long periods of time. In museum collections, we try to move our textiles around. I know in the home it's more difficult, but if you have, let's say you have seasonal quilts, and maybe you want to change them out for the seasons. That's a great idea because then it gives the quilts that have been on display, it gives them a break. And they can go into storage while you pull others out. And then it's just fun, to display different ones. Don't store quilts with newspaper or cardboard boxes. Both of those are very acidic. And the ink from the newspaper will rub off on your quilt or whatever you're storing. Also, the same with colored tissue paper. Don't use colored tissue paper on anything because that can also, that fabric or the color can bleed into your fabrics. And it's not acid free. When you buy acid free tissue paper, it will not be colored. It will be white, or it might be kind of an off white, but it's not going to be a pretty color. It's just going to be white. And when you're using fabric, if you're using cotton fabric or muslin, it needs to be white or off-white. If you're using those clamps, wooden clamps on your, to store your quilts or to hang them, you're using those. Those are okay maybe for some quilts, but for really fragile and delicate quilts, I would not suggest doing that. Okay, and I have I wanted to tell you how to store or how to roll up a quilt or fold up a quilt, but I thought just watching a short clip might be helpful. So watch that. Okay, so it helps to have a partner to help with that a little bit. The last part that they were doing, you could use rolled up tissue paper to put in there as you're folding it to kind of protect it at the creases. Um, you can also use pool noodles. You know what I mean when I say pool noodles that you get in the summertime at Walmart? And you can cover those with some cotton stockinette. Stockinette you can get at medical supply places. You can also order it from Amazon. And you just take that stockinette and you kind of pull it on like a sock. And it just is kind of the soft, or you can also stuff the stockinette with tissue paper. Either way, but the tissue paper works just fine. It kind of helps protect those creases, and then you can put them in your archival safe, your acid-free box, textile box. There's boxes specifically for textiles. So also you can roll your textile, and this is, I'm just going to kind of go through this. This is from our collection and from our museum, and how we store. We don't have quilts. You can store quilts this way too, because I know those boxes take up a lot of space, and so sometimes rolling them takes up less room. As long as you have a closet to put them on or something, or even a box to put them in, the rolled quilts would be fine. But we have a lot of Navajo rugs and we have some bark cloth and some other kind of woven mats and things like that. So we roll them this way. So we get a cardboard tube. This can be a mailing tube. This can be a carpet remnant, what's left over from your carpet and maybe cut down. City Blueprint that I mentioned last week for reproducing photos, they do a lot of other things too, like posters and things like that. They have tons of these mailing tubes, and they'll sell them to you for like $1.50. So just, and the carpet places may too. I don't know, but that's where you can get the cardboard tubes. Now, cardboard's acidic, so you don't want to lay your item directly on the cardboard. So we wrap it in foil as a barrier, and then we take tissue paper, acid-free tissue paper, and wrap it around the foil. And I believe this is unbuffered, just because we deal with so many different kinds of material. So you just wrap that tissue paper around. And you could, if you wanted to, if you wanted to tape it in place or tie it in place, you could do that. And you can also use pool noodles. So you could use a pool noodle with the stockinette, and I'll show you what that is in a minute, but you could also use that to roll your textile, especially if you have a wall hanging. Somebody had a tapestry that they brought in. Yes. So you could even do something like that with your tapestry. So then it's hard to see because everything's white, but I lay a piece of muslin down. And then you can also use, like if you have a cotton sheet at home that's white or off-white or even a light beige, you could use that. It doesn't have to be muslin, or you can use cotton or a sheet, so anything like that. And then I just put some more tissue paper on top of it. So you've got the muslin, and then you've got the tissue paper. And then I lay down the object. So this is a Navajo rug made mostly from wool. We use lots of tissue paper. So another piece over that. And then you just start rolling it up. And then at the end, because I put the muslin down first, that's what's going to be on the top of it. So that's going to just be the muslin on the outside. And then we take a picture of it because we have so many. We take a picture, put it in a little plastic sleeve, and then a little pocket. And then that way we know what's in there. We don't have to unroll it to see what's there. And then we just tie it. There's probably 4 or 5 pieces of string just tied up and down this roll. And then this is how we store it. So it's not fancy. It's just a simple, it's something you could make at home if you have a lot of textiles. Um, Making this wooden rack with has holes in it. We just put dowel rods through. This is why we use the cardboard tubes as opposed to the pool noodles, because those dowel rods wouldn't go through a pool noodle. But they go nicely through the cardboard tube, and then we can store several that way. This is also, we just had this sitting out and I decided to take a picture of it for you, but it is a textile box, acid-free box. And we have different materials in here, which you can do. They're pretty deep. So you can store more than one thing in a box. You just need to separate it with some acid-free tissue. So we've got at the bottom, there's some bark cloth from probably from Samoa or Fiji. And then we have a couple of different grass skirts. And so those are all just wrapped in tissue paper and stored on top of each other. So you can do that. You can store multiple things. You just need to make sure they're protected with tissue. So what happens if you do find some insects? What happens if you find some casings? We've had things donated to us where we had some dolls that were Inuit dolls in Tlingit, which is a tribe in the northwest coast. And these dolls were made from seal skin. They had rabbit fur. They had different materials on them. And we didn't see any live insects, but we saw casings of insects. We saw remnants. So we did freezer treatment. So you can put your items in a polyethylene bag, store them, and if you have a deep freeze, which is probably what you'd want if you have a textile. So it'd be too big for your regular refrigerator freezer. But if you have a deep freeze, you put it in there for 48 hours. Let it sit out in the bag and kind of thaw, and then check it. And if it looks okay, go ahead and brush it, or you could vacuum lightly depending on what it is. If it's really super fragile and falling apart, I wouldn't put it in the freezer. If it's something that's in fairly good shape and stable, it would be okay. You can also repeat the treatment if you think it's necessary. If you just want to be safe, you can repeat it and put it in for another maybe 24 hours. You can freeze. We've talked about freezing things in here, and these are some kind of things not to freeze because you can't do that with everything. Very fragile items, paintings, objects under tension, like a drum, because it's going to constrict those fibers, and that drum is going to constrict when it gets cold, but then it's going to expand when it thaws out again at room temperature. So that can cause damage. Lacquered or inlaid wooden objects, rubber, plastic, wax, glass, and old photographs. Now, I mentioned last week about putting your photo album in a freezer, and that's why I said put it in for about 10 minutes. You know, if there's one of those albums where you're trying to get the sticky stuff off, just don't put it in for very long and it should be fine. You don't want to do the 48-hour treatment on that. But these other things, I would not put in the freezer. Okay, let's talk about displaying. Displaying these in your home. So staying away from direct light. Now, if you do the UV protectant window tinting, this can free that up just a tad, but fluorescent light is not good for your textiles. You could use a padded dress form. Framing handiwork to protect from light sources. Make a Velcro hanger or cotton sleeve, and I'm going to talk about this in just a minute. Make sure that it's somewhere where your pets aren't going to get on it. You can even lay out a quilt on a guest room bed if you'd want to do that. You can do that. Just make sure you're not going to have a dog laying on it or your cat or things like that. And also, if you want to you have your grandmother's quilt and you know it would make her happy if you use the quilt. Use the quilt. It's okay. Is it going to break down quicker? Yes. As long as you know that that's the case. But if you really love something and you really want to use it, you know? But then those things that you really are wanting to pass down, then let's try to protect those so that they can last for generations. Velcro hangers, and there's all kinds of tutorials online to kind of tell you exactly how to do those. But this is used a lot in museums too, to display things like rugs and tapestries, things that are stable enough to be able to be suspended by their own weight. So there's probably things that you might not want to if they're very fragile, or lace or things. Um, the loop side is always attached to the textile, and the hook side is attached to a wall. Or if you I will tell you that this Velcro is pretty heavy duty. And if when you try to remove it, sometimes it will take the paint. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it'll take that paint if you're trying to remove it, if it goes directly to your wall. So if there's like a wooden slat or something that you want to attach it to so that it's not going to mess up your wall, you might want to think about that. But don't, this comes in where you can sew it, but don't sew the Velcro directly to your object. You want to get a little piece of cotton cloth or muslin and put that on your, make it a little bit bigger than your Velcro piece, and sew that to the back. You can sew it with a machine, or you can sew it by hand. Just make sure that the thread you're using obviously is going to blend in with your object. If you're worried about those seams showing on the other side, then you can try to hand stitch that to where it's not going all the way through. And again, there's all kinds of tutorials online if you want to look to see how to do that for sure. Rod and sleeve method. There's a lot of quilt museums that use this, where again, they're just sewing a piece of fabric onto the back of the cloth and then putting a rod in it to hang it. So that's a pretty simple way to do it. If you are using those quilt racks, you know, the kind that stand on the floor, that's just the freestanding quilt racks, and those are fine, but just make sure, because there's that wood, and that stained wood, and it has chemicals in it, and it's acidic, and it's going to leach into your quilt. So you can put a barrier. You could still use it. Just put a barrier between the quilt and the wood rack. So that could be acid-free tissue paper. That could be just a piece of cotton fabric. That could be a piece of polyester, archival polyester or mylar, that clear plastic. That could go too. So just kind of creating a barrier between the wood and the object, which is good with any textile. Needlework and fragile small textiles. So the best thing is to frame those, and sometimes it's hard for them to stand up on their own, because they want to, when you put them in a frame, they want to just fall down, or they want to bunch up. And you can buy some mat board. You can buy foam board from Walmart, but I think it would be too thick. You can buy mat board. You can get this at Hobby Lobby, Michaels. You can buy acid-free, although it's not necessary if you're covering it, which is what this is showing you. And they have covered it with some muslin or cotton fabric. And on the back, they've just taped it, I think, or glued it, which is fine, because it's not coming, that's not coming into contact with your object. And then you can carefully stitch some stitches, maybe on the top and the bottom, to hold that handiwork, that needlework in place. This photo is showing pinning. They're pinning the object. So they're kind of, they're putting pins around. Again, it really depends on the fragility of the piece. And if it's way fragile and you just don't, you're like, I don't know if I should do that, you can take it to a restorer and somebody that can do that for you. But this is a good way to be able to display your, or store them. You can store them this way too. You can use that mat board covered. You can buy archival mat board, acid-free mat board, and you can get that in different colors. But covering it with the fabric, then you're safe on that. You don't have to, it doesn't necessarily have to be acid-free. Another alternative to glass is this. This is from archivalmethods.com, this Acrylite OP3. And it's just a lightweight, shatter-resistant acrylic that just happens to be have a UV protectant on it. So it's going to protect that piece. Now, this one I looked up. They sell it in sheets. You can get whatever size you want. And just for example, an 8x10 sheet is $7.55. So it's pretty reasonable, especially for acrylic, because sometimes acrylic can be pricey. So that's pretty reasonable. And that'll just give your object some extra protection. So padded hangers, you may, from that far away, I don't know if you can you see the price on that? I don't know that you can. It's pretty small. It's $89.90 for a hanger, one hanger. And we have lots of hangers in our museum because we have lots of textiles. We have lots of Guatemalan weaving textiles, weeples, and costumes and things. There's no way we can afford $90 a piece on hangers. So you can make your own. And I think I've included in your reading, the packet you picked up today, or I guess last week maybe, there was some instructions on how to make these, but they're really easy. You can take any hanger you have except for wire hangers I would not use because they're just not going to hold their shape, or the plastic hangers that you get clothes on that you buy, you get from the clothing store. But you can use the heavy duty plastic ones and you can use the wooden ones. And you just need 100% cotton muslin, some polyester quilt batting, and your hangers. And you can wrap that batting around your hanger. And this is great for storage or display. And then you can make a little template if you want to with your muslin and just stitch it up at the top. I brought one to show today. And let me tell you, we have students do these, and some students can sew, some students can't. And so some of ours look better than others, but we're using ours for storage, so it doesn't really matter. It's the padding that makes a difference. It doesn't have to be pretty, unless you're wanting it for storage or display. Another way, this is the stockinette. It comes in a box like this. This is a no-sew method. So my students really like this, and especially ones that don't like to sew. So same thing, you're going to wrap that with the batting, and then you're just going to pull the stockinette over it. So you might want to secure it with some pins so that it doesn't fly all over the place, or put a couple stitches. I think pins or even tape is a good idea just to keep it in place. And then you just pull that stockinette over it. And this will help protect your clothing for hanging. You can also do a strip, like the hangers that, if there's just, if you want to hang, let's say, a tablecloth, you can do that just on that one bar, or some pants or something. You can do that. But it's just going to help protect your items. Before we go to break, I just wanted to show you a really interesting preservation and conservation project that's going on at a museum that you may have been to, but maybe not have known the behind the scenes on what all they're doing. And there's a lot of textiles involved in this as well. A lot of different materials. How many have been to the Steamboat Arabia Museum? Yeah, a lot of you have. The Steamboat Arabia Museum is in Kansas City. Just a little background. In the early 1800s, people said it was impossible to navigate the Missouri River. People tried with keel boats and canoes. In 1819, the first steamboat to ascend the Missouri River found it to be very challenging. It took 14 days to go about 200 miles. Later that same year, a government expedition took nearly 4 months to reach a point near Leavenworth, Kansas. Despite the perils of grounding on sandbars and ever-changing channels, snags, and other obstacles, steamboats continued to push their way up the Missouri. By the mid-1850s, steamboats were carrying all the necessities of life to the settlers on the western frontier. The Arabia was built in Pennsylvania in 1853. She could carry about 200 tons of freight. She made several voyages up and down the Missouri. On August 30th, 1856, the Arabia departed St. Louis en route to Kansas, Weston, St. Joseph, Council Bluffs, and Sioux City, with intermediate ports. 7 days later, on September 5th, 1856, she left Westport Landing in the afternoon carrying 150 passengers and more than 200 tons of freight, bound for her next stop, which was Parkville, Missouri, only she never made it to Parkville, Missouri. A huge snag pierced the Arabia's thick hull, the tremendous impact throwing many passengers to the floor. Water began pouring in and it started sinking. Fortunately, the upper deck remained above water where the passengers waited for rescue. And fortunately, everyone survived except for a mule who was tied up and probably just forgotten in the chaos. The next morning, only the smokestack and the top of the pilot house were visible. Everything else had sunk into the soft, sandy river bottom. None of the cargo was salvaged. Over a period of years, the river changed course as rivers do. And there were all kinds of rumors about what was on the Arabia. One of the rumors was there was 400 barrels of whiskey. And so there were people going down to look for this whiskey, never could find the wreck. They went down exactly where it had sunk. It wasn't there. So in 1988, after consulting old river maps and using sophisticated metal detectors, David Hawley of Kansas City located the wreck over 1/2 mile from the present channel and 45 feet under a Kansas farmer's cornfield. So that's pretty remarkable. So they started an extensive excavating project, and they brought in well drillers and pumps to pump out all the water as they were excavating things. And as they were pulling things out, they realized that this was kind of a hobby at first. And then they realized, well, this has some historical significance. So we need to try to protect these objects and we need to share them with the public. So that's when they started this idea of, okay, we need to consult some conservators, we need to consult some restorers, we need to consult some museum people to know what to do with these things. They even uncovered the snag that sunk the ship. So just very wet. You know, we're talking about, oh, keep things away from moisture, and these things are in water, right? But they've been in a constant state for so long, and that mud just kind of acts as a preservative and just kind of keeping everything in place. But you will see the wooden boxes, the wooden crates are gone, aren't they? They're just disintegrated. There were small-mouthed bottles containing preserved fruit for pies, as well as bright green sweet pickles that were still edible. I don't think I would eat them. There were 4,000 shoes and boots recovered, along with more than 3 million Indian trade beads, numerous sets of dishes and housewares, dozens of guns and knives, all manner of clothing items, and even 2 prefabricated homes. They had kit homes even then. Preservationists gently removed oxidized material from the metal artifacts using special tools and erasers to remove rust as much as possible. Bottled and jarred foods and beverages were injected with nitrogen and inert gas. Organic material like wood and leather were submerged in a food preservative called polyethylene glycol and then freeze-dried. Look at all the textiles. Most of the garments had to be restitched because that cotton thread dissolved in the water. So they were in pieces. So you kind of had to piece them back together and restitch all of those garments. And I'm not sure how they cleaned all of them, but you can see they're staining. So there's water damage on those garments. So some of those may not have been able to be cleaned completely. All the dishes, although I think the mud kind of helped keep everything in place. all those daguerreotypes or ambrotypes, and you can tell that they're tarnished, but they're still in pretty remarkable shape. And there's the snag. And there's what's left of the mule. And that's just the inside of the museum. If you've been there, you've seen it. So they're still working on preserving the collection. They hope to have it all done by 2022. And they've been working on it a long time. To stabilize items that haven't been worked at, they freeze them in blocks of ice and then thaw them out carefully and dry them. So you can imagine it takes a long time to do all that. And then there are over 4,000 pairs of boots and shoes, and they had to restitch most of those. I think they just did anyway, just to help stabilize and preserve them. They restitched them, they put new leather laces in, and then they filled them with acid-free tissue. It takes about 4 months per boot for the whole process. This is an umbrella. The only thing that's left is the frame. So the cotton fabric dissolved, but the framework is still there. So they're still working on that. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of an interesting preservation project that's going on, still going on. And I don't know, that used to be that you could go and watch them working on items. And I don't know that you still can. I haven't been there for a long time, but let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. Time. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started on our second half. I do have a couple of questions that I was going to address. And one of them is about record albums and how to store these. There are, now if you have the original cases, that's okay. There are specific archival sleeves that are specifically for record albums and phonograph albums. Had somebody asked me about phonograph albums too. And so you can get sleeves. So sometimes, like if those the boxes that your albums are in are sometimes they're lost or they're falling apart or they may be acidic, and so you can store these in those sleeves. It's best to store them upright if you can, and there are boxes that you can get. You can get those sometimes those photo boxes, or you can get those archival boxes with the kind of the hinge lids, and those are really good for your albums. You can lay them flat as well. It doesn't really matter if they're upright or flat, as long as they've got a barrier in between. You don't want to just stack them directly on top of each other or directly beside each other, because, I mean, for the main thing, they're going to scratch probably if you do that. And they're very sensitive to humidity because they're going to warp. You've probably seen that maybe or if they get water damage, they're going to warp. So be really careful with that. But yeah, you can store them flat. You can store them upright, just as long as they're protected in some kind of archival safe container. The question was, does the pH of the tissue, acid-free tissue, ever change? My answer is, I don't think so. I think that pH, the chemicals in there are stagnant. They're going to stay the way they are. Now, there's a possibility I could be wrong about that, but I really think that those buffered or unbuffered, the alkaline or the absence of alkaline, that's going to stay stable, and that's why those are suggested tissue papers to use for your objects. So I think that stays steady. And as far as checking your fabrics, also checking to see if fabrics are acid-free, that one's a little trickier. There may be ways to do that with your fabrics. If you buy the fabric at the store, sometimes it will say, I've seen muslin or something say that it's acid-free, but if you're not sure about it, I know I've heard of coatings that you can put on fabric that kind of has that alkaline in it to help cause it to be acid-free, but I've never used a spray, so I don't know if I would trust it. So if you're not sure, I would just find some acid-free, some cloth that you know for sure at Hobby Lobby or Joann's or something like that. There probably are tests that you can do or have a restorer or conservator do chemically to do that, and that's probably what you would have to do to know for sure. All right, and before we talk about our clip or our reading today, I have another clip for you to watch.
Never say die. Never say die.
Taking that cotton, sun up to sundown, whipped by the master. Sun up to sundown, chains and shackles. No more auction block for me. No more auction will be alright. Fight on, just a little while longer. Fight on, little while longer. Pray on, little while longer. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. We will sing on just a little while longer. Sing on just a little while longer. Sing on just a little while longer. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Oh, walk together, children. Don't you get weary. Walk together, children. Don't you get weary. Walk together, children. Don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. Oh, walk together, children. Don't you get weary. Walk together, children. Don't you get weary. Walk together, children. Don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. On and never tire. On and never tire. On and never tire. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. On and never tire. On and never tire. On and never tire. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. Oh, sing together, children. Don't you get weary. Sing together, children. Don't you get weary. Sing together, children. Don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. I'm gonna run and never tire.
All right. So, how many of you have heard about the Underground Railroad quilt codes? Anybody ever heard of that? Okay, a couple of people have. So, according to legend, African American slaves may have used a quilt code to navigate the Underground Railroad. So, you saw the different things mean different things: wagon wheel, tumbling box, bear paw, all to hold secrets to help direct slaves to freedom. So, this is, as you know, if you've read your article, this is controversial because some people say it didn't happen and some people say it did. And so there's historians that say, no, these quilts don't exist. We don't see them. There's no narrative. And then other African American people are saying, yes, because this was passed down from my ancestors. And that's what this book that they were talking about, this Hidden in Plain View, written by Jacqueline Tobin and Raymond Dobard, I believe. So this was published in 1998. And in the book, the authors are interviewing Ozella McDaniel, who she's a descendant of slaves. And she said that this quilt code was passed on to her from her ancestors. And it was a way to say something to a person without actually saying it, which is why it's called hidden in plain sight. So it was in plain sight. And so, but the slaves would know what it means, but nobody else would know. So a plantation seamstress would sew a sampler quilt containing different quilt patterns. Slaves would memorize the codes and the sampler. And then she would hang the quilts in full view one at a time. And so they would know, they would get ready. And usually that first one was about the wrench. And this was get things ready, get your supplies ready and prepare. So that was usually the first one. And then they would hang a wagon wheel. And that told them, pack your things. You're getting ready to leave. There was one that was a bear paw, which they think meant literally, this was for maybe those that are going over the Appalachian Mountains, follow the path of the bear. The bears follow the water and where the food supplies are. So that's saying, do what the bears do, follow those. And then the tumbling blocks pattern, which Dober described as looking like a collection of boxes. That quilt was displayed when certain conditions were right. So example, if there was an Underground Railroad agent in the area, it's time to go. So there's been all kinds of controversies. So there's been historians saying, no, this didn't happen because where are these quilts? Well, and then, you can say, well, the slave quilts, I mean, they used them until they literally fell apart. There's nothing written down. Well, why would they write something down if it's going to fall into the wrong hands? So, I mean, you can go back and forth on that, but then there's descendants of slaves that said, absolutely, this is true. What do you guys think? Does anybody have any insights on that? Yes. Yeah. Right. Right. And that's the idea. She said that, oral traditions that are passed down from women are typically authentic. Is that what you were saying there? And that, these people, they were slaves, they had nothing. And so there was nothing to save, and what they had, they used until there was nothing left. And they're not going to be trusting of anybody else. So this was, this was very delicate information that they're not just going to have out there. So I can definitely see why there wouldn't be anything left. Yes. Okay, so that was an Underground Railroad. You went to visit an Underground Railroad house, and where was that? Oh, in Iowa. Okay, and they told the same story about the quilts. Okay. Right. Well, true. He said it was after the book came out. So, yeah, true. Yes, in the back. I do too. She said, even if it's not true, it's a wonderful thing. And if you guys quilt, there's patterns available. You can make your own quilts with those images, and those are a good education. Yes. Well, she said, wouldn't it be the white people that helped him instead of the slaves? But there were the slaves that worked in the house. And so I think that, yeah, it could be both. It could have been both. It could have been the white people, if there were white people around that were part of the Underground Railroad that would set these out. Maybe maybe it wouldn't have been the plantation. Maybe it would have been surrounding farms. But it also could have been the seamstresses that worked in the house for the masters. It could have, and they're making quilts. Nobody would question them making quilts. So it could have been both. Yeah. Yes, the hobo signs. Yes. Yes. Yeah, so she was referring to the system of the codes for hobos where they, had the different symbols and they'd usually carve them in a tree and so they would know what was where was it was safe or where to go. So and I'm like you, I just think it's interesting anyway and I like to think that it's true and like you were saying, the oral histories, I think we can trust those oral histories as much as possible. But things like this that were passed down, there's so many women typically are saying that they've heard this from their grandmothers and their great grandmothers that were descendants of slaves. So I don't see why we can't believe that it was true. All right. If there's no other comments, we'll go on to our show and tell. And I have some online students that I'm going to share theirs first. And Jane, let's see, that you emailed a picture, and we'll put that on for next time. If you're okay with the painting and the bronze statue, if you want me to display those, we'll do those next time. Okay, this first one with the photo and the watch, this is from Sherry Stocking Klein. This watch was first owned by Celinda Rose Brenneman, who was born in 1855. Don't know where. Married in Iowa in 1871, moved to Nebraska and later to Kansas. She passed her watch to her daughter, Carrie, who passed it down to her daughter, Dorothy Faye Jones Stocking, who passed it down to her daughter, Sherry Stocking Klein, who Sherry has it now, after the birth of her first child. So that's a really great that you were able to trace that down. And then you have a photo of the woman who started that. So I think that's really neat. This is from Lois Carr. I'm attaching a photo of an autograph book that belonged to my great grandmother. I think it's Samira. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. Autographs in it are mostly from 1884. I love these autograph books. Those are a lot of fun. I included an entry in the book from her uncle, George Macy, in that year. He owned and operated a general store in a little community in Cloud County, Kansas, called Macyville, which no longer exists. I'm guessing that he gave her the book from his general store when she was visiting him, and she gathered autographs from her Macy relatives while she was there. This portrait of Samira, I have one of her husband as well. They're charcoal portraits and hand-colored enhancements of the original image. Impressive, but less expensive than the sitting for the painted portrait. Yes. So she said that these are charcoal, doesn't want them to smudge. And so that acrylite that we talked about earlier as sort of an alternative to glass framing, this wouldn't be a bad idea for something like this, because I'm afraid if you put it in an archival photo sleeve, it might smudge a little bit. And so putting it in something that's going to have a little more compression, I feel like is going to hold that charcoal in place. So that might be an option. And this is from Betty Marshall and her pie safe. Peter Wendover started with his family from the state of New York to make the long journey to the unknown territory in the West. Included in the items brought in the covered wagon were a small seaman's chest and a pierced tin pie cupboard, both of which were loaded with items the family needed to help them survive the journey. Over the following decades, they traveled southwest through Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, finally arriving in Pawnee County, Nebraska in the early 1870s. It was here that my great-grandmother Sarah Wendover met and married my great-grandfather Frank Marshall in 1872, and it was then that the pie cupboard was passed on to her. As a child, I spent lots of time with great-grandmother Sarah, and I have wonderful memories of her bedtime stories telling me about the trek west in the covered wagon train. She talked about the days walking because the horses needed to carry as small load as possible. She also talked about how after they stopped for the night and circled the wagons, how the Native Americans would come up and the wagoneers would give them things like salt, sugar, and flour to make friends with them. The treasure was passed along to my parents when we moved into the town of Stockton from the family farm shortly after I was born in 1929, and my mother used it to store our dishes. Since back then, built-in cupboards hadn't come into existence. Over the years, it has always been used for storage, and it was passed on to her in 1961. And I feel honored to continue to care for this treasure, which is remarkably fantastic condition, which, yes, it is. Just by, I mean, being on a covered wagon and all that, it looks amazing. The tin is almost mint condition, probably because of the varnish which covers the exterior, which protected the tin from rust, but also there's no damage to the tin. So that's pretty amazing. Okay, and then I have the next one. I'm going to start our in-person show and tell. So if you have something, I'm going to start with Vince because I have his picture up here.
Okay, as an introduction, first, I'm Vince Marshall. No, I don't think I'm related to Betty. So this brief introduction to describe some of these objects here. If I had a name for this picture and a presentation, I'd say digging up old treasures or junk using my rototiller. Okay, so in Valley Center, back in the late 1970s, there was an old house next to where my family lived. And there was a large-sized family that lived in it for many years until the late 1970s. I know that the house was built before 1910 because my son and I tore down that house with the permission of the landowner, and we found a corner board in it that is, it was a 1x12 boxing board. It was underneath the exterior siding of the corner of the house. So that was a way to date something about that house. And it had the carpenter's name and date written on it with his old carpenter's pencil. Well, later I was able to use that empty lot for a garden plot. I used a rototiller to dig up a sizable portion of the lot and planted it with various garden items. Actually, the rototiller was just used to skim off the grass. I hand dug the garden area, and I found a lot of the items that I'm showing on the screen, such as the marbles, the little figurines, or old toys and bottles and so forth. For instance, in the upper left-hand corner in the light blue area there was a white glass container, and inscribed on it were the words, the Yucca Company, Methyladium Trademark, Wichita, Kansas. So this company was founded by the Albert Hyde in 1889, and methyladium was developed and marketed by 1894. That methyladium building still stands down at the northeast corner of Douglas and Cleveland, I think. Well, several of the glass bottles in that green picture up there, they were plugged by a cork. And there were no screw-on lids in the old days. So the one at the very top is an apothecary glass bottle. It was a small 3.5 ounce medicine bottle. It had markings on the bottle of 1 to 3 ounces, marked on the bottom with Owens of 69, and that was the Owens Glass Company, Toledo, Ohio. Well, I found a lot of marbles shown in that mixed yellow background photo. A lot of handmade marbles out of clay and a variety of other types. At the top was a watch fob. It's not very distinguishable here. I do have the actual one here. It had a large antlered deer with a big snout protruding from it, and it was inscribed with the name National Sportsman. And that was on the front, and also read a National Sportsman on the back. And it says, a magazine of good fellowship for lovers of sport with rod, dog, rifle, and gun. And also the words, the address, 275 Newberry Street, Boston, Massachusetts. In very small print was a name, Robbins Company, Attleboro, Massachusetts, the established company in 1892. Well, it's an interesting thing. The Robbins name was the same name as the people that owned the house. there 2 generations lived in that old house. So I don't know if there's any connection or not, but that was interesting. Oh, you could buy that for $35 on eBay. Well, one of my favorite finds in the very bottom, it's hard for you to make out, but it's a gold crown tooth. It was a molar, and I do feel a bit sorry for the person that lost that. I wondered if they were able to chew solid foods later on. Well, I also found a lot of rusty items. Naturally, the iron items, iron objects weren't preserved. There's toy guns, belt buckles, old gas light fixtures showing up there. There plus a lot of tools, a pocket watch, spoons and forks. That little measuring stick down there, Better Rations, that's from an animal feed store. It wasn't for the guy with the lost a tooth or whatever. Well, is this junk or treasures? I guess that depends on your viewpoint and your interest and relationship with such objects. So be observant when you dig in your garden or around the house or in your closet. You may find a historical treasure.
Thank you. Vince has also, he has done he does grave dowsing to find unmarked graves, and he has participated in we had some cemetery tours in Augusta, historic tours, and Vince came and did some demonstrations. So I told him to bring his dowsing rod, so they're in the car, so he could do a demonstration. But he does a really good job. He's done work for the military and things, finding unmarked graves. So, okay, I know we have another one in the middle. Yep. Yeah, and when somebody's done, if you want to just come up to the microphone, that's fine.
Hi, I was holding off to see if anyone else came up. I felt kind of guilty about coming up here 3 weeks in a row, but I got stuff. Anyways, this is a linen tablecloth that was made by my great grandmother. And the way my mother told it, what a girl would do in those days is do a complete project, almost like a master's project in homemaking. She grew the flax, retted it, spun it into thread, and then wove the cloth. It has kind of a woven in pattern to it. It's not just a flat weave. So you can't see it unless you get up to it. It has her initials on it, MK, and a little number 6. So anyway, she was married in 1877. So the 6 might be for 1876, the year before.
Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, this was done in Germany. That was where she grew up.
My name is Vicki Smith, and I brought several items that belong to my husband's grandfather. He was in the Army in World War I, and I have quite a lot of things of his from that era. Before he served in World War I, he actually was serving with General John Pershing, Blackjack Pershing, on the border between Mexico and the United States, quote, chasing Pancho Villa. So don't know if that's a real story or not. I think it is. In World War I, he was in France. He was in the trenches. He also was brought home early to teach shooting to other soldiers that were getting ready to go overseas. The first thing I brought is a little book. It's called Parlez-vous Booklet. And it's a phrase booklet that is French, German, and English that was for soldiers. And it is has phrases in it like, I am wounded, I need a horse, various things like that. The second thing I brought was the bayonet training manual from 1918, quite fascinating. I brought a piece of hardtack. If you want to look at it afterwards, I'll be happy to show it to you. It's got a date from 1918 at least, so, and it's still hard, and you could probably eat it. But the family treasure is a deck of marked and shaved cards that he used in World War I. The story is he went in as a private, came out as a sergeant with enough money to buy a house cash. So we have figured out the pattern on the cards, where the marking is. We haven't quite figured out the code, and you can tell they're shaved on some of them. So some are a little bit bigger than others. They're quite fascinating. So if you'd like to look at those, I'll stay around for a little bit.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? All right. Well, remember that for next week, if you haven't shared, I don't care if you've shared every time. That's fine. You can share again next week. So we'll have some time. If you've already shared or you haven't yet, go ahead and bring your items. Those of you online, email me pictures and stories. Those have been great. And we will see you next week.